right, welcome to Filmshake, the 90s movie podcast. I'm Jordan.
And this is Nick.
And we're here today to talk about Anaconda. This is episode 30.
My podcast don't want no... Oh, I botched that.
my podcast don't want none unless you got ears, hon. I don't know.
This is already our worst episode that we've ever done.
We'll talk about 97's Anaconda in the main review, but we're going to have the Fallen Warrior review once again at the top of the show for the first time in a while, because we won't be covering a terrible sequel like we have been the last 80 episodes where Nick has punished me with cruel... Wait, no, I punished you with cruel intentions too.
You can't even remember, can you?
I can't even remember. What am I talking about?
Yeah, so I let you beat me a few times, and I sunk into this deep hole of just punishing myself. Like, you said, watch Cruel Intentions 2, and I said, well, how about I watch Cruel Intentions 2 and 3? You said, watch the... Were we supposed to watch all 4 Crow movies? I can't even remember. I just feel like if we watch a movie...
No, you were only supposed to watch City of Angels, but...
Wait, so I watched all those on my own?
Yep, you did that.
Oh, no.
Apparently you don't want to live.
I was in a bad place, but it's all better now because whenever I beat you in trivia last episode, because I actually tried this time because I was getting tired of the maelstrom of awful that I was in, I said, you know what? I'm not going to assign you Anacondas to watch. We're going to watch, or you're going to watch, Snakes on a Plane. I've already seen it. I watched it when it came out, and I'm never watching it again. But tell me, what did you think about Snakes on a Plane, Jordan? Is it a misunderstood classic?
Well, I thought it was dumb. It's kind of fun at parts. I thought, at first they had some funny kills. In the beginning, you've got a couple in the airplane bathroom having sex on the plane. The snake comes down, of course, and chomps on the lady's incredibly large breast. I mean, this movie turns into a porno for like 5 seconds right there, but I guess in good old horror movie fashion. And, you've got a dude peeing in the bathroom. He gets his junk bit by a snake coming out of the toilet, and he's yelling, "Get off my dick," and stuff like that. But quickly after that, I thought the movie turned into a little plain, pun intended. The kills and the bites get less and less interesting. And it's weird because I feel like this movie obviously knows it's ridiculous B-movie trash, and I did enjoy a lot of that ridiculous B-movie trash, but there are moments where it tries to get heartfelt for some reason, which I found really strange. There's like an elderly flight attendant who's about to retire, and she saves a baby on board this flight filled with snakes only to get bit and then die. And then all the other flight attendants have a somber moment where she dies, and they cover her up with her flight attendant jacket. I was like, wait, why are you trying to do this in this movie? There's a couple of moments like that. Like, you're just terrible. Like, nobody's watching this movie for that moment. Everyone's watching this movie to see some snakes bite people and Samuel L. Jackson to yell MFer at these snakes. I don't know. I just felt like this movie would have been so much better if it just stuck with what people actually wanted, which was, the sex in the airplane bathroom with the snakes on the boob. But it's still fun at parts. I laughed out loud. I didn't feel like I was being punished, especially when there's a giant python snake that crashes through the ceiling of the airplane. Somehow they fit this giant 40-foot boa on this freaking plane, and then this stuffy British guy who has been mad at this lady for having a Chihuahua dog on the flight, he throws the dog at the python, and the python eats it whole. And the lady's so mad at him. And I'm just like, that is a ridiculous choice, and I love this moment in this movie for that choice. But yeah, there's a lot of other just kind of bland, plain garbage in this movie. But what are you gonna do? Also, do you know what the TV edit for Samuel L. Jackson's classic line was? Have you read the trivia on this movie that you hate so much, Nick?
No, I watched the unedited version, and I've never watched it again, so I did not see the TV edit.
The TV edit is apparently, "I've had it with these monkey fighting snakes on this Monday to Friday plane."
What the hell?
Which I thought was a great TV edit. I love a good TV edit where they just throw in random words that make no sense in the context of this movie.
That's right up there with Yippee-Ki-Yay, Mr. Falcon from the end of Die Hard 2, where Bruce Willis suddenly has a Latino accent and calls the villain Mr. Falcon, which is not actually his name, and he's never referenced as that throughout the entire film. That sounds almost as good. Also, they say melon farmer in Die Hard with a Vengeance on the Fox network cut.
Almost as good as the Big Lebowski TV edit where Walter is yelling, "This is what happens when you find a stranger in the Alps."
Yes. Well, it sounds like you had the same opinion as me with this movie, because this came out of almost a meme on the internet, or the equivalent of a meme in the mid-2000s, where people just thought, hey, that would be a funny idea if there were snakes on a plane and Samuel L. Jackson was also on that plane. And it seemed like really a can't-miss idea. And the first 20 minutes of this movie, it kind of feels that way. And then it's almost like the filmmakers thought, well, we did our job, and that's good enough. Let's just fill the rest of this to get to a runtime that the theaters will be cool with us showing, and we're done. We did it. We did our job. The end.
I feel like I probably liked it a little bit more than you. Not seeing it in the theater, not having much expectation for it. Heard of it, obviously. I'd heard that line. I'd forgotten, actually, that original line was a joke on the internet that people just thought of when they were anticipating the movie, and then they actually went and reshot some scenes, made it more of an R-rated film, and threw in that line based on people's commentary on the internet. I was like, whoa, that's, I guess, not early internet, but I feel like that might be one of the first big media sensations that was really influenced by the internet in that way, and I thought that was interesting. Apparently this whole film, the pitch came from like some executives party where they were trying to think up the worst ideas for movies, and this was one, and then somehow it just stuck and they went with it, and I guess people thought it was just dumb enough to work. But yeah, I still felt like I had fun at parts. It's definitely not a good movie, but I don't regret watching it, and seeing snakes eat chihuahuas and bite people in the nads is always a good time.
Just the fact that you said bite people in the nads reminds me of how when I gave you this movie, it was a slight kindness because I figured you'd like it more than me. I can't get out of my head that this was originally going to be a PG-13 movie, and how much blander it would have been had that been the case. Because really the only entertaining bits are when they go over the top with the R rating, and those weren't even in there originally.
Yeah, I can't even imagine that. That just seems so strange. And the only time that I really felt like I could see where they went back and reshot stuff was when they stuck that Samuel L. Jackson line in there. It almost felt like a different scene, like they're buckling up in the plane before he shoots out the window, and then all of a sudden he just says this line out of nowhere. It's like, wait, where did that come from? You just had to throw that in there because that's what people want. But I don't know, just felt weird.
Yeah, that's kind of like when I had to watch Cruel Intentions 2 a few episodes ago, and you go from scenes where they're saying gosh darn it to all of a sudden F-bombs and boobs everywhere. So movies are weird like that. These kind of movies are weird like that. But you watched it, you did it.
I did it, and we'll hear a little bit of that for Anaconda, because apparently they had originally recorded some stuff for this movie where they said the F word and they had to go back and ADR in freaking and kind of PG-13 it a little bit, which I didn't really notice as much watching this one, but it's just always fun to kind of catch that stuff in the trivia.
I got nothing to say there, buddy, except I think I'm ready for some Anaconda.
Dun, dun, dun. All right. Well, let me read the synopsis for Anaconda before we jump into the plot here and get into the nitty-gritty. So,
yes, the plot of this film is really important. Let's make sure that all of our listeners know exactly what happens in this film.
This is what happens. A National Geographic film crew, which I'm not sure, do they ever say the words National Geographic in this movie? I think I only got that from the synopsis. But anyway, a film crew is taken hostage by an insane hunter who forces them on his quest to capture the world's largest and deadliest snake, the Anaconda.
Yeah, that's about it.
And if you didn't know, here's some facts about anacondas, totally true, that are from the opening crawl of this movie. I definitely think we should spend some time on this for a moment. Let me read you to the opening crawl.
I love that we took the exact same notes because I have the same spiel, I believe, written on my computer screen right now. Go ahead.
All right. So, tales of monstrous man-eating anacondas have been recounted for centuries by tribespeople of the Amazon basin.
That's kind of true.
Some of whom are said to worship these giant snakes.
That is possibly true.
That's possibly true. I'll give you that. Anacondas are among the most ferocious and enormous creatures on Earth, growing in certain cases as long as 40 feet.
That's not true.
Unique among snakes, they are not satisfied after eating a victim. They will regurgitate their prey in order to kill and eat again.
Sure, why not?
I mean, so that is true to some degree that snakes do regurgitate their prey, not to get their thrills off to kill and hunt people and eat them again. But I like how none of this is true, but it does tease us with some regurgitation, so I'm sticking around.
Yeah, it definitely does. Never mind the fact that I believe they regurgitate their prey only if they need to escape from something else and they're being weighed down. But of course, if they were growing to be 40 feet long, then they wouldn't need to run away from anything, right? But they don't grow that big. The biggest one ever measured was only like 17 feet long. I say only like that's small. According to what's in this movie, that's small. But that's it. And their weight, like the biggest weight that they've ever been found at, I have weighed more than. So not quite as terrifying in real life, even though there are some accounts of them killing some people. They've done that maybe a few times, but not the way they do in this movie.
Are you saying you could take an anaconda, Nick?
Saying it right now, right here on the show. Anacondas, you sons of bitches who listen to this show. I know a few anacondas listen. Bring it on. Bring it on. Any day, any night. If it's night, knock on my door first. Don't do that stuff where you're creeping into my bed and sneak attacking me. Announce your presence, and then we'll go.
We're going to get in the ring. That's right. And I just picture these snakes with like headphones on and like all pissed off. Like, like, no, they're just mad as hell now. We stirred them up, Nick. Better watch out.
Big mistake.
I was going to say, with this film crew, the National Geographic film crew that makes up our main cast, the only thing possibly more uninteresting for me than watching a National Geographic documentary is watching the film crew try and make said documentary, because that's the first 30 minutes of this movie.
Dude, I wrote this down.
It's a slow start.
Yes, so there is a snake attack right at the start of the film. Poor Danny Trejo. I don't like a vulnerable Danny Trejo. I
don't either.
Yeah.
It threw me off, man.
It really does. And this is before he really became the Danny Trejo acting presence that we all know and love. But once he gets offed, and he offs himself, which is pretty dark and brutal for this movie, right? That he's so scared of the snake, he commits suicide. He puts a gun to his head.
A little disappointing for me, because like you said, I wanted a more badass Danny Trejo that like we're used to. And it's just kind of like, okay, he shoots himself. Of course, you don't want to reveal the snake too early in this moment, but I thought it'd be cool to at least see him like pulled down back under the boat and hearing like some nice snake chomping noises or something.
Well, they sure make enough noises later. They're screaming like banshees. I don't know what these noises are that they're making.
That's definitely a note I had too. Like, why are these snakes screaming? This is not accurate at all.
No, it's really weird.
There's a guy credited for the snake voice. Like, there's literally a guy in the cast that's like John Smith, Anaconda voice. And so like this guy was apparently in the sound booth just like, that's all he did.
I feel like it was Randy Quaid from Independence Day, and he was really drunk, and he said, "I can make a snake noise. I'm a pilot." And they're like, "Okay, that's cool. Come on, get in the booth."
That's who it was.
Yeah, but once it attacks Danny Trejo, it doesn't attack anyone for another 40 minutes. This is not an exaggeration. It's 40 minutes into the movie before someone else gets attacked.
It is a slow start, and speaking of the film crew, we've got Ice Cube, we've got Jennifer Lopez, Owen Wilson, and if Ice Cube didn't randomly pick up a camera every now and then, I might have forgotten they were an actual film crew, because they're basically just on this boat, like hanging out. They might shoot something every now and then, but it's kind of a weird paradox of this movie, because that's how little this movie cares about this documentary they're making. And yet at the same time, the first 30 minutes are them like gathering the crew and looking at maps and discussing tributaries. And I feel like you, Nick, from our bonus episode, we were talking about Godzilla versus Kong, and I was just like, just show me the damn snake.
And then they screw up because what Jaws taught us is what you don't see is almost scarier than what you do see, right? But they do show you glimpses of the shark. I don't know, like 20 minutes in, they do show like the entire snake. Like they show its goofy looking animatronic head, because you know what? I was wrong in our previous episode. I said it's all CGI hell. It's not just CGI hell. It's also animatronic hell. It looks so dumb. I have a cross-eyed cat that we adopted from a local cat shelter, and this snake looks goofier than that poor damn cat.
That was definitely a note I had too. The snake looks cross-eyed this whole movie. They're doing well if they can get it to look at whoever it's attacking. It does look pretty goofy, but at the same time, Nick, you know I'm a sucker for practical effects and animatronics, so it looks rubber, it looks fake as hell, but I still really enjoyed this late 90s mixture of CGI and the animatronics, so I'm all right with that. I don't know about you. Maybe you had a bigger problem with it, but it does look goofy, but this movie is goofy. I think it knows it's kind of goofy, so I'm with it. It's all right.
You know, Jordan, I always admire your own admiration for trash, so that's cool. Very cool. Speaking of the languid pace, did you like how we get 5 straight minutes during Jennifer Lopez's introduction where she's just working on her laptop, like all 90s heroines? She's just sitting in a room typing away, and the film's just like, oh, this is cool, this is her. And I want to say this now, and I will say this now. Man, the characters in this movie suck.
Yeah.
That none of them even have any defining traits. Jon Voight, who is insane in this movie, and then what's his name? I'll cut out where I say what's his name, because to me, he's the best part of the whole movie after Jon Voight.
Jonathan Hyde?
Jonathan Hyde, that's right. Oh my gosh. These two guys are the only two people who realize what kind of movie they're in, and that they need to bring it up to about a 15 out of 10. Everyone else is just like, I'm getting a paycheck. I'm just going to be my normal self. I don't have to do anything crazy here. And those two guys, they say, you know what? This movie, we have a snake that's so cross-eyed it's about to fall over. It can't even see its own tongue whenever it's flicking it out of its mouth. So we got to ham it up. And man, I mean, seriously, there's a part in this movie where Jonathan Hyde, who is supposed to be narrating the documentary, and he's a fancy British guy. He's in a lot of movies as a fancy British guy. You know, there's a meme where it's like no one. Absolutely no one. And then someone says something crazy out of nowhere that no one asked for. There's definitely a part of this movie where no one is talking and everyone's sitting around. And then he just walks out and says, I was up all night picking leeches from my scrotum.
I totally forgot about that moment.
Like, who wants to know that? Why are you announcing this to everyone? No one wants to know what's been on your genitals. I mean, I did, but no one else on the ship did.
Oh, man. Well, at least you have Owen Wilson as the horny sound guy, I guess.
That is his attribute. He is horny.
He gets horny. This jungle is making him horny. And he's got the production manager, Carrie
Okay, so I made a list of celebrity crushes of the 90s in the year 2000.
I was about to say, this was one of your crushes, right?
Oh, she was in my top 5, man. She was in Sliders. Her acting ability, maybe not the best, but she was good looking. And hey, you know what? I should say this too. You know, everyone goes through puberty. Pretty much everyone. I guess there's maybe some people who don't. I don't know. That could be a thing. I don't know why I'm talking in absolutes, but most people go through puberty, right? And then you realize, like, okay, I'm attracted to women, or I'm attracted to men, or I'm attracted to everyone, or I'm attracted to everything. So, you know, I realized that when I was like 12 or 13, like, oh, something's happening. I seem to be attracted to women, right? Well, then that gets more clearly defined as you get older. And the year that Anaconda came out, there's another movie starring Jennifer Lopez that came out a few months earlier called Selena, which was a biopic about the singer Selena. And that's when I realized, hey, I seem to like women who have large posteriors. And I followed through on that by marrying someone with a large posterior. I mean, that is a compliment in a good way. And you know what? She was in this right after, and that's the reason I watched this movie one time in 1997. I never watched it again until you made me watch it for this episode, but it was totally just for J-Lo. And because I was interested in her backside as a 15-year-old when this came out.
I think this is a perfect time to introduce a good old friend.
My anaconda don't want none unless you got buns, hon.
Okay, seriously, how appropriate is it, or inappropriate, that song is, a cultural touchstone, really, in my opinion. Like, we played it at my wedding, of course, and I'm sure it's been played at an infinite amount of functions. Everyone knows that line, and then they get the actress who is known mainly for having a large posterior at the time, way before the dumb Kardashians and their fake injection butts. J-Lo's got a real butt, and she's awesome in Selena.
She's got a real butt.
I don't want to downplay her skills. I really, now that I'm a mature adult, I think that she's a great actress, honestly.
I do too.
She's so good in so many things. And this really, at the time, I don't think was the best vehicle for her, because they don't really give her character anything to do.
They don't.
She has not a lot of agency. She doesn't really take the initiative very much. Things just kind of happen to her. So that's a bummer. Now the me that wants to see her chops and is more interested in that is bummed out that she doesn't get to show any of that. I know this is just a dumb snake movie, but think about Jaws, right? I mean, that's not a fair comparison. Jaws is one of the best movies ever made. But in Jaws, you have the three main guys on the boat, and you know who they are, right? You have the scientist with plenty of sea experience, who resents being thought of as a city boy. You got the Captain Ahab, gruff and coarse sea captain. And then you have the salt of the earth family man, police chief, who hates the water. You know exactly who they are. And this, you don't know who any of these people are, except this one dude is horny, this one dude is crazy, and this other dude has leeches on his scrotum.
And Jennifer Lopez is just kind of there. Even Ice Cube, I mean, he's obviously just playing Ice Cube, but he's even a toned down Ice Cube. He's not even really that fun of an Ice Cube until, of course, you get to the very end where he gets to chop some snakes and do some fun stuff. But talking about your celebrity crushes and, the sex appeal of the ladies here, I like how this movie is okay, we're PG-13, but we need as much boobs and skin as we can get. Because both of these ladies are in extremely see-through shirts. And you're talking about the scene where J-Lo is sitting at her computer in her apartment early on. How distracting are the nipples popping out of her shirt, man? I'm I can't even look at the maps that she's talking about here, guys. What are you doing? As PG-13 as it is, you definitely have Carrie showing as much skin as possible.
Almost as much as in Sliders, where, if I remember right, she showed her bare butt in Sliders in an episode. There were 28 million warnings on it. And I think I was 13 when that episode aired, and I was yes, no one's home but me. No one will make me change the channel. And it was a Species ripoff episode. That was the season of Sliders where they just ripped off big budget movies. So it was kind of a lousy show that year. But hey, Carrie Werner was in it.
Well, you could definitely watch Anaconda not by yourself. Bring the whole family because it's tame enough. I think I probably watched this with siblings or friends, I don't know, mom in the background. But you have the almost sex scene with Owen Wilson and Carrie Werner, and then they're attacked, but she's running, boobs just almost falling out of her tank top, of course, and just can't quite go there like Snakes on a Plane did, but we're gonna give you as much titillation as we can. It's just a product of its time for the late 90s PG-13 thing that it is. But again, I like trash, so I'm all right with it.
I feel like the only people that this movie is going to offend are people from Paraguay, which is where Jon Voight's priest character is supposed to be from.
Oh, man.
Because, oh boy, this accent that he puts on in this movie is amazing. It's so bad. It's so good. I love how whenever someone references him as a failed priest and he says, "Failed? Who said I failed? I didn't fail."
He would have done better to say he was Cajun or Creole or something. But he has that kind of dirty swamp rat look to him. But he also sounds like a Don Corleone with a Spanish accent or something. I don't know. It's really weird, and I could not imitate it for the life of me, but I don't think anyone can. I think it's just like a special talent that Jon Voight has to make this happen. It's magical.
It's something. He always is kind of like shutting his eyes almost all the way, like 85% of the way, while biting his lip in this kind of weird, like, mockery of an O face. I don't know what it's supposed to be.
Yeah, he's got, like, you know, the trifecta of the bad ponytail, the squinty eyes, the wrinkled nose, like, snarl on his face, and then, you know, the accent, like, capital A, crazy accent. Like, what on earth is he doing? I feel like it's another paradox of the movie where it's not good by any means, but he's swinging so big, like you're talking about. Like, he knows what kind of movie he's in. He's just chewing it up, and I don't want him to stop. I mean, as ridiculous and over the top as it is, I kind of love it, how bad it is. And I feel like, first off, who decided to cast Jon Voight as the guy from Paraguay? Or I wonder, was it a Jon Voight decision? Like, he got on set and he was just like, this is what I'm doing, guys. This is happening. They're like, no, John, don't. No, he's like, no, it's on now. You know, or whatever, however you want to imitate him.
I'm going to make Angelina proud. She'll finally love me like she always should have.
Oh, you hurt my feelings. Oh, at the same time, the stuff that he does with his eyes and some of his gestures in this, they are kind of effective and menacing, and he does get really pervy with J-Lo at a key moment. And I don't know, I just feel like it works on some weird bad level. Like, it's not good, but it's probably the most interesting thing in the movie, like what Jon Voight's doing here.
Jordan, let me ask you a question, and I want you to answer this honestly. So Jennifer Lopez's love interest in this film is played by the one and only redhead Eric Stoltz.
Eric Stoltz, who's on screen for like 30 seconds.
Who does she have better sexual chemistry with, Eric Stoltz or Jon Voight? Be honest.
The snake?
Dude, no. She has better chemistry with Jon Voight, by far. In fact, everyone does. Like, Carrie Werner has better chemistry with Jon Voight than she does with Owen Wilson, who I think is kind of boring in this movie, actually.
How could you not have good chemistry with Paraguayan Jon Voight?
He's a priest, so it's been a while. He's got all this pent-up energy, you know, and he's not a failed priest, as he says.
Oh, yeah, I like how when people die, he just says, like, a quick prayer. Like, and you just throw some flowers in the river, and he's like, all right, let's move on. We got to catch this snake.
The most half-assed last rites possible. He's like, oh, Domine de Santre Patringo de Madre. Yeah. And then he throws some sand over his shoulder, and then it's over with. He's on to more snake hunting.
I don't think I've seen a more half-hearted rites said over a dead person in a movie. He's got an award for that.
I don't understand how the priest union didn't get upset about that. You know, I'm sure they all went to go see this movie together, hoping for some representation.
The Vatican boycotted it.
That's right. Like, what the hell is this? Excuse my French.
I like how the 30 seconds that Eric Stoltz is in this movie, he's fighting with Jon Voight about like the Village People lore. He's like, no, that's not how it is. Oh, and then he gives us the crazy ass story about this tiny catfish that can swim up your penis and flick out spines in your genitals. And he just throws it out there like, I'm not afraid of anything except for the penis catfish. And then he jumps in the water to try and untangle their propeller. And I'm like, wait, first of all, is that penis catfish in the water? Because no, I would not be scuba diving under those circumstances. And this is set up like some weird foreshadowing, like we're going to see the penis catfish at some point. Were you expecting his junk to explode with penis catfish? Because I was.
No, whenever this movie kind of set out that beige tone, the color of this movie, the color scheme is beige, which is insane because it's set in the rainforest and it should be colorful and eye-popping, and it's beige.
It is eye-popping in one scene, but let's come back to that in a minute.
Yes, that's right. There is an eyeball that gets popped out. But no, I wasn't expecting anything as inventive as that. Really, the only inventive thing, and I'm saying a penis getting exploded, is inventive. Leprechaun 4 did it, you know, in an episode that we did a few months ago. It's not as inventive as Leprechaun 4.
This movie can't hold a candle to Leprechaun 4.
Where the leprechaun explodes through a guy's boner. Nothing like that is going to happen in this movie. I mean, really, whenever they pick up Jon Voight because his ship supposedly has crashed and he needs a ride, and he takes over the whole movie. And the director is very obviously cowering in the corner, just terrified of Jon Voight and letting him do whatever he wants. I expect a lot of crazy stuff to come out of his mouth, but not really anything crazy to happen in the movie.
Well, I'm still worried about this penis catfish. That's all I'm going to say. Like, did it swim up his urethra along with the wasp? Maybe that's why we don't see Eric Stoltz. Like, that really happened to the actor, and that's why he's kind of faded from the limelight, you know? You just can't drop that in a movie. It's like the Chekhov's gun. It's like the Chekhov's penis catfish. It's got to go off at some point. I'm just saying that's a weird thing to throw out there and never deliver on, because obviously I'm still waiting for the regurgitation at this point in the movie. So now you've set up the penis catfish. I'm kind of intrigued.
I will tell you, the penis catfish was an urban legend in my high school and middle school, and we actually did some really thorough research, and it turns out it's not quite true. There is a catfish that does something like that, but it's not small enough to swim into your urethra. It could do some damage in other parts of your body, but not there. So you're safe.
Well, I beg to disagree. Whatever trivia I read on IMDb, as we know this is 100% true all the time, apparently in 97, the year this came out, there was a documented instance of the penis catfish climbing up a guy's urethra while he was peeing in the water somewhere. So I don't know. Take that with a grain of salt or a grain of juice or catfish juice or whatever.
Listeners, do the research for us. We need to know if this is real or not. I'm not Googling it. I don't feel like it.
Well, moving on. So Jon Voight, he takes over the boat at this point. You know, he incapacitates Eric Stoltz so he can kind of become the crazy sea captain, the evil Quint, as I like to think of him. He wants to just hunt some anacondas instead, and they come along and they blow up a bridge and snakes go flying and some other things happen. But yeah, all I really want to talk about is this anaconda attacking the jaguar, squeezing it so hard that this poor jaguar's eyeball pops out, because they didn't mention this in the opening crawl, but apparently that's a skill that the anaconda has, where he can squeeze you so hard that your eyeballs just pop out and get left on the jungle floor.
What did the jaguar do? That was kind of cruel. Jaguars are like my third favorite animal, with crows being number one, and I'll let two remain a mystery for now. But jaguars have like the hardest bite of any land animal comparative to their size. Like, they could straight up shatter your skull, and they're really pretty and super cool. So the stupid cross-eyed snake killing it and then adding insult to injury, the snake's like, I can't have an eyeball that's not crossed, so you can't have an eyeball, period. And then it just squeezes its eyeball out like a damn jerk, a damn cross-eyed jerk. So I hated that part. My least favorite scene.
You just have a lot of hate for that snake, but I think you got its voice down just right.
Yeah, if we go by its hisses, that's how it talks, for sure.
Hisses? I never heard it hiss. It was just screaming like that the whole movie.
That's right. By its screams. It does not hiss.
By its screams, yeah. So Mateo is the first kill of the movie. I guess before Jon Voight takes over, he's the ship captain, or he's kind of in cahoots with Jon Voight's character. He's steering the ship most of the movie. He's just kind of the random South American actor that we don't get to know much about. And then he gets killed by the snake. His eyeballs don't pop out, unfortunately, but we get our first human kill. We get Jon Voight shooting a monkey out of a tree, which, not to sound like I'm an animal cruelty person or something, but I think one of my favorite moments involves Jonathan Hyde's character, Westridge. He plays the stuffy British guy like we were talking about, and he just can't deal with the intolerable conditions of this boat ride in the Amazon. And, you know, why are they bringing the narrator for their documentary along on this trip? Because wouldn't you normally just have the guy like record some narration in a booth somewhere back in LA? But anyways, yeah, they've got to have him along the ride. And when Jon Voight is trolling the river with the monkey carcass, the snake pops up and straight up spits this wet monkey on Jonathan Hyde. And it looks like a soggy stuffed animal. It just slaps this dude right in the face with this stuffed animal monkey. I just died laughing, man. That was great. I really enjoyed that part.
That was my second biggest laugh of the movie. The first being when the first guy gets attacked and killed. The first shot that they show of him, he's in water that's like clearly up to his chest. And then they cut to another angle of the snake attacking him and killing him. And the water is only like maybe up to his crotch. Like, they... like the quality control there was pretty terrible, but I think it was also so they could like fit the CGI of the snake in.
I mean, would you say, and I want to talk about that too next, is, the snake CGI versus animatronic. Like, would you say this is bad CGI for 1997?
I don't know. It never looks good. We always use, of course, the baseline of video games. It's probably PS2 quality. I wouldn't put it down to PS1, but there's definitely a shot under the water whenever it has Owen Wilson in its belly that looks horrendous. That looks like a Super Nintendo 16-bit cutscene. It's bad. Like, the water is all blued out because they couldn't afford or figure out how to get more detail under there. And, it's not blue water. So that was pretty bad. I don't know.
I like how the CGI snake moves like 1,000 miles per hour. It's just like whipping and twisting and flipping. It's a freaking circus animal. And then the animatronic snake, like I said, it's lucky if they get it to look at the right person, if they get it to move at all. It's so slow. Apparently that animatronic snake also almost killed J-Lo in the making because it malfunctioned at some point and it just started whipping around and like almost hit her, almost bit her. And there's footage in the movie of that malfunction. I don't know exactly what point. I'd love to know like what the footage is for that in this movie, but maybe it's later when it's on fire and she's trying to escape it because, obviously it's really on fire. So I can imagine that making an animatronic fail and malfunction and almost kill someone. That's kind of why we don't have animatronic puppets anymore, because there's a lot of stories like this of actors almost being killed by these things. But I kind of regret that too, because like I said, I'm a sucker for these older, more tactile effects. And even if they look goofy and stupid, I think I'd much prefer that than seeing like a really crappy CGI floaty snake that's moving 1,000 miles per hour.
Yeah, who knows how many more cross-eyed creations we could have had if not for that.
Who knows?
So many cross-eyed monsters. Really, Kong versus Godzilla that just came out that I just talked about in the bonus episode. If they did it with animatronics, maybe we could have got a cross-eyed Kong and a cross-eyed Godzilla. I would have felt so much more empathy for both of them.
Just slap some googly eyes on a sock puppet. You're good, man. So there's mutiny on the Bounty. J-Lo tries to seduce Jon Voight's character so Ice Cube and Westridge can attack. She comes in and she's flirting with him and they start to kiss. Ice Cube tries to take him out, but of course Jon Voight's too quick and he's like, "Oh, you think I'm stupid?" And then of course he is stupid because Westridge comes out and busts the window and hits him with a golf club. But I was kind of expecting him to turn J-Lo down straight up and be kind of like, "Oh, I know what you're up to. I'm not gonna give in to your trickery." But I guess the pheromones were too strong, and he goes in for some heavy kissing. And again, I kind of wonder if this was in the script at all, or if Jon Voight was just like, "Oh no, I'm going in for it." And they're like, no, John, don't do it. And he's like, "No." He's, giving her the tongue.
The best part about that whole scene is that after he's kissing her and then he gets foiled, everyone else comes in and it's clearly a trap. Instead of immediately defending himself, he takes a chance and goes in for another kiss.
That's what I'm talking about. I think that was the real Jon Voight, and they probably literally did have to hit him with that golf club and take him out.
To which Jonathan Hyde gives a line I am 100% sure he improv'd. "Asshole in one."
Does he say that?
He says asshole in one. That's right, because he hits him with the golf club.
I did not catch that.
And it's great continuity there because he's been practicing golf on the ship. It's definitely not a ship.
Boat.
It's a rickety old boat. It's
right.
A dingy old boat, and he's been hitting golf balls off the back of it the whole movie. So great continuity there. Never mind.
Good.
10 out of 10.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
We never even said who directed this movie, by the way.
I don't. Who knows? Who cares?
It's
Louis somebody.
Louis Yosa. He also did Sniper, which a lot of kids from my school liked, and I saw, but I can't remember. And The Specialist, which I never saw, and Anaconda. And I think he did some other stuff. But these are his 3 big movies. And man, he only made one more movie after Anaconda. What's up with that? This wasn't good enough? The cross-eyed snakes here weren't enough to keep his career going?
Maybe he just felt like he had reached his peak. He's like, I've done Anaconda. I'm done. Like, I can't get any better.
Or did Jon Voight scar him for life?
Probably the latter, yeah. Well, next scene, they get stuck at the waterfall, and they're deep in the jungle at this point. The crazy snake statues everywhere. And they've got to get the boat unstuck, so Ice Cube and J-Lo and Westridge, they have to get in the water to winch it to a tree. Denise, played by Carrie Wurr, she's mad at Voight for having the snake kill Owen Wilson. He didn't want them to kill the snake, so they basically kind of sacrifice Owen Wilson to the snake so the snake can live, so Jon Voight can capture him and get a bunch of money. But she comes at him with a knife, but then he strangles her with his legs, snake style, and then he cuts himself free. So what did you think about this sequence, first off?
I thought it was pretty boss, because not only does he do that to her, but he and the snakes are basically in cahoots to humiliate her as much as possible, because he has this little pet name for her, which I think it's Baby Bird that he calls her. So yeah. After he snaps her neck with his thighs of steel, he's like, sorry, baby bird. And then he kicks her into the water. And then later, whenever the snake comes back up and J-Lo's trying to shoot the snake, it grabs Carrie Wurr's corpse and uses it as a bullet shield, as a human bullet shield. So she really gets it bad snake at the end of this.
Man, I just felt, like they are in cahoots, because this is the moment where I was like, Jon Voight is a snake. I'm pretty sure he just straight up constricted that girl to death with his thighs of steel, like you said. But not just the constriction with his legs, but his creepy slitted looking eyes and his face. I just feel like he's channeling the Anaconda here.
Maybe that's why they take him so seriously as a threat, because my favorite line of the entire movie, it's 80 yard in, and it's whenever they finally hit him after, all this chaos has happened and we barely have anyone left. I think we're down to just J-Lo and Ice Cube and Jon Voight, and they're trying to stop him. They can't. He's unstoppable. But finally, Eric Stoltz, who got stung by a wasp and has been passed out the whole movie up until now, he gets up and he gets a tranquilizer into Jon Voight's back. And we got J-Lo, Ice Cube, and Eric Stoltz fighting Jon Voight. And when he gets hit with a tranquilizer, they ADR J-Lo's voice saying, "The tranquilizer's working, get him," because that's the only way you can take down a 60-year-old Jon Voight.
Right. We've got these 3 young, strapping people coming after him, but no one can take him down except for with a trank. And then Ice Cube gets a good punch in, and then he's down into the river. But he's coming back. He's coming back. You can't take out Jon Voight that easily.
Well, they ADR'd Ice Cube then saying, "Damn, the tranquilizer came out."
Right, yeah, and that was the ADR.
The audio quality is so different from the rest of it. I don't even know if it was Ice Cube. They might have got an impersonator in the studio to do his voice because they couldn't afford to have him come back in.
Right, they're like, we got to explain how this guy comes back. He's not totally tranquilized. That it fell out in the water. So later they go looking for fuel in some abandoned factory of some sort they find in the middle of the Amazon. And of course, Voight is there and he captures them and he throws monkey blood on them. What did you think of this monkey blood scene? You got so much monkey blood. He must have been out there just killing like a dozen monkeys waiting for him. Like, where did he get all this monkey blood? He had like a bucket.
I feel like they should have dumped monkey blood on J-Lo earlier in the movie, because whenever that happens, she yells, "I swear to God, I'm going to kill you." And I'm like, where was his energy the whole time? If she had brought that kind of energy to her part the rest of the movie, which I don't think she was directed to, but if they would have said, "Hey, I know like this is one of your first big budget movies, but it's kind of trashy and you really need to act a little nuts here," and she doesn't really do it until that point, maybe she made the right decision, right? Maybe acting nuts in this movie. Jon Voight's career was fading really fast, so he could afford to do that. But she kind of had to play it safe, right?
Right. He's like, I'm going to do whatever the hell I want. Again, I think Voight is probably out there actually killing all those monkeys. Sorry, monkeys. That's where they got the bucket of blood, and it was real blood. Probably really threw it on J-Lo and Ice Cube, and she's just actually pissed. Like, this is not acting. This is documentary. They're making a documentary. We're watching a documentary, my friend.
This documentary is about Jon Voight doing drive-by monkey bloods. That would be awesome if she was really telling the actor Jon Voight, I swear to God, I'm going to kill you. Like, they didn't set that scene up at all. They're just like, all right, so you and Ice Cube are tied up, and then the snake is going to come because you're tied up and it knows that you can't get away. And then he just ran by with the monkey blood. I was Jon Voight.
Oh, damn it. It's Jon Voight again. I thought that guy's last day on the set was yesterday, but he's back again. You tell me I got to act with this guy some more?
And he's always in character.
Like, what kind of accent is that?
Here's some more monkey blood. Why are you a stereotypical Italian chef now?
And Jennifer Lopez is like, come on, man. I'm trying to act. This is one of my first movies. Quit the pranking. Quit with the monkey blood.
Maybe his performance was a favor to J-Lo, so she'd look so like reasonable and seasoned in comparison to his lunacy.
Man, you were really composed next to Jon Voight. Let's let you move on and do one of the best crime movies ever with Steven Soderbergh next, which is Out of Sight, which is a movie I love.
Yeah, man.
But anyway, so he lures the snake to them and tries to catch it in a big net. And the snake gets out, of course. And this is my favorite moment in the movie by far, where he's climbing up the ladder. The snake climbs the ladder with him, snaps its mouth onto his shoulder, pulls him down. He tries to get away. Ice Cube pulls the net back up, trapping Jon Voight. This is my favorite shot in the movie, where we get a POV shot from inside the snake's neck after it's coiled itself around Jon Voight. You get this wicked little gelatinous inner lining inside the mouth of the snake, and it opens up and eats Jon Voight, and it's just awesome. I love it so much.
Yeah, that's what I was referring to earlier. That's the kind of creativity and inventiveness I wanted more of in this movie, and it doesn't really come till that one shot where it's like, man, that's funny and goofy, but also cool and different. Like, where has that been this whole time? I forgot to mention this. Did you like whenever the director tried to get a vertigo shot in on J-Lo whenever the snake attacks earlier, where it's like not only an homage to that, but to the one in Jaws, yes, of course, where it's like this scene has the same gravity as the one in Jaws, and it doesn't. And he even kind of botches the vertigo shot where it's still a little blurry when he comes in on J-Lo. Like, it doesn't quite snap quickly enough. I thought that was lousy. But anyway, yeah, the inside of the snake, that was awesome.
Yeah, man, you just got to enjoy that. Like, I feel like you're coming down too hard on this movie. You just got to wait for that moment and just let it all out. Just let it go. Give this movie its moment, man. Just get inside that snake and get gelatinous with it. Get jiggy with it. Jelly with it.
Gelatinous with it.
Well, so the snake is chasing J-Lo, and it's slowed down because of Voight. And here we go. Next favorite moment in this movie. It wants to kill and eat again, just like the opening crawl told us it would. We get our promise. It regurgitates Jon Voight, who's all slimy and half digested and still somewhat alive, because he winks at her.
That was awesome.
This has to be one of the all-time winks, man. Obviously not scripted. Voight deserved this Oscar. He should have got an Oscar.
He got robbed.
He was really actually eaten and regurgitated by the snake. The producers were like, no, John, don't do it. He's like, nah, man, didn't you read the opening crawl? This thing is going to regurgitate me. It'll be fine. And that wink is for us, man, because we read the crawl too. We knew it was coming.
I like your thinking there.
He's like, I knew it was going to regurgitate me. And I think, obviously, just like the Trank comes out, he survives this moment. We don't see him later, but obviously he's still out there. He's like a mushy mutant snake man now, just climbing around in the jungle. And he's obviously part snake, because I think that's probably why the Anaconda was like, no, I mean, I know I'm known for cannibalism, but I just can't eat this guy. He's too much like me. We're in cahoots. We're akin. Like, I'm just going to spit this guy out and turn him into like a mutant snake creature that winks at people. Man, such a crazy moment. Love it.
Yeah, man. I agree. I think I want to do a little word association here. While you were saying that, I tried to pull back from my mic because I'm eating some M&Ms. I got this big bag, right? So the best kind of snake is a king snake because they eat other more dangerous snakes, right? So the bag of M&Ms I'm eating right now, it's a share size, but it used to be called a king size. So great job, major corporations, for dismantling the patriarchy and the candy business. That's wonderful. My share size bag of M&Ms is making me feel
Are you
like
just
you guys
stalling so you can eat some M&Ms?
Yes. All right, I'm good now. I'm good. I shared it with myself because I am the king of this bag of M&Ms.
So yeah, I feel like you're coming down hard on this movie, but what did you think? You obviously enjoyed the crazy inside of the snake shot. Tell me your thoughts on this Jon Voight finale and this showdown with the snake.
Oh, I thought you were just going to be done with it and let me just give you my thoughts in totality on the entire movie.
I feel like we're in another Mortal Kombat zone where I'm like, I'm all about this movie. I want to talk more about it. You're like, come on, man, let's get this over.
You're
with.
like, so what did you think about Ice Cube's shoe choice by the wardrobe director here? Did you think that it fit the scene well? And I'm like, damn it, I just want to be done with this movie.
You got to talk about Ice Cube stabbing the snake with a pickaxe and then blowing up the smokestack and J-Lo jumping in the CGI snake on fire. Come on, man.
It was cool, I guess. It's really the only time they let Ice Cube do anything. He really has 3 moments in this movie. His first line, "Today's a good day," which is, of course, a reference to his famous song. Whenever he lights up the stogie on the ship, that was a pretty cool moment that lasted like 3 seconds, where it was like, oh, look, he lit up a stogie on the ship. Okay, that scene's over. And then this at the end, where he gets to chop the snake's head in half. That was cool. But I don't know, man. I kind of felt like the climax, even though it has all the stuff that we like in it, just the way that it's shot, it felt a little flat for me. I don't know. I remember not thinking it was the greatest climax back in the day. Really, all my thoughts on this movie are the same. I initially watched this for J-Lo back whenever I was a teenager, and I made observations about the movie then, even though I was just kind of a little teenage horn dog watching J-Lo and Carrie were. I thought, you know what? I really like the crazy parts in this movie, but there are not enough of them. The rest of it plays it really straight, and it's really boring. And even this climax, that should be really wacky, the way that it's shot is just really kind of rote and not that exciting, even though there's an explosion that involves a gigantic 40-foot-long snake on fire screaming like a banshee. I'm not really that into it, and I don't have a lot of investment. And you know what? Really wise me from back then has the same opinion now, because I am still that person, and I still felt the same way about the movie. I'm sorry. I know you just like trash more than me, I think, even though there's some select trash that I do enjoy more than you do. This is like a 3 out of 10 for me. I'm wrapping it up, so I'm sneaking in a wrap up there. I don't really like this movie at all. I mean, I think it has its moments, but it's like a 90-minute movie that feels like 2 hours. Like, I have a pretty solid don't check my phone when I'm watching a movie rule, and this movie tested it so badly. I got so bored watching this, man. It has its moments, but they're so few and far between. I like the Randy Edelman score. He did the theme song for MacGyver. He's not really known as much for like symphonic movie scores, and this one's got a lot of keyboard, but it's a fun monster movie score, so I enjoyed that. I like the people that are in this movie, but I don't really like them in this movie. They're not really given anything that interesting to do outside of Crazy Voight and Jonathan Hyde. Yeah, I don't know, man. Just not feeling it. Not feeling the Anaconda. I'm going to talk about the sequel in a minute. I actually enjoyed it more than this by a small degree.
Wow. Well, that's a bummer, man. I totally understand where you're coming from. That for me, like I said, especially the first 30 minutes are kind of flat, really boring. And I agree, a lot of the characters are really plain. They don't have much going on for them. I did enjoy Voight, like I said, for the ridiculousness and the finale. I still had a fun time with it. I'm with you with J-Lo. I wish they would have given her more to do in the end. I mean, I know she gets to shoot the first Anaconda and save Ice Cube, but that wasn't all that exciting. And then at the end, Ice Cube gets to pickaxe the snake and then chop the snake head when it pops up for the one final scare. And I just, I almost kind of wish that we had that reversal there where maybe Ice Cube saves her and gets to shoot the first snake. And then at the very end, we get J-Lo chopping the snake's head because she feels like she's supposed to be the main character in this, but yeah, she's not given that much to do. You get Ice Cube's final classic bitch when he chops the snake's head and the snake falls back in the water. And I love how after they've defeated these snakes, they're floating downstream somehow, because apparently they blew up all their fuel on the snake, right? But they're moving along and they see the native tribe that they've been looking for, the Shimmy Shama or whatever it is. And then the credits immediately roll up because they're like, nope, we know what you're really here for. The snakes are dead. This movie is over. No one cares about this mist tribe. You know, even J-Lo is like, yeah, roll some film, Danny. Okay, that's enough. Let's get the hell out of here.
Dude, I swear at one point Jon Voight calls this tribe the Chimichangas at least once.
I want to eat them.
Man, there's got to be like 15 hours of outtakes in this movie of him just saying insane stuff. Somebody's got to have that in a vault somewhere. I hope it didn't get destroyed by a fire.
He's like, no, give me one more take. I do my accent better this time.
Just one more, Mr. Losa. Uno más, as your people say.
So, star ratings, you said you gave this a 3 out of 10?
That is correct.
Yeah, I obviously liked it a little bit more than you. I gave it a 3 out of 5. It's dumb fun. You know, all the things I just said about it kind of do bring it down a little bit for me. But J-Lo, you got Ice Cube. They're still fun in the end. Like I said, I wish we got more to do at the end with J-Lo. But Ice Cube, I definitely wouldn't want to lose any of that pickaxe axe action at the end. And speaking of Ice Cube, I know you told me you were a little disappointed they didn't give him a snake rap at the end during the credits like they do with LL Cool J in the Deep Blue Sea, right?
Yeah, man, I was all geared up for it, and then it never comes. I mean, I love Randy Edelman's score, but it was really time for Ice Cube to rap about snakes and maybe his head being a snake's head, you know, like LL Cool J's head is like a shark's fin, because, you know, snakes don't have fins. They're like one really long head and tail. They're basically just a slithering penis and a total phallic nightmare that haunts all of our imaginations. But yeah, it doesn't come. It never comes.
Well, you might be in for a treat here then, speaking of the phallic nature of snakes, because come to find out, I did some digging, and, you know, I think due to the required PG-13 rating for this, there was a rap that was made, but it was never released. I don't think this movie could have stayed PG-13, and it was never released, but until now. You know, so I did some digging, and there's a hidden track from Ice Cube in 97. And you know what? Damn it. LL Cool J totally stole his idea, his beat, almost the same chorus from this Ice Cube track we're about to show you. And it's just outright thievery. And this rap is called Deepest, Longest, parentheses, Penis. And that might give you an idea of where this is going and why it was never released. But all right, I'm going to drop it for you here so you can take a listen. Hold on.
Sir, you have my attention.
What? Hiss. Come on. Let's get it. Straight out of the Congo, back in the jungle. We about to rumble, tumble with some snakes. And Jon Voight, looking like a mongrel. That punk ass. It was a good day, so I hopped on a boat. Make a dock with my girl, Big J-Lo. And I'm the DP, but you ain't gonna see me. I'm behind the scenes, capping fools with my 16. Or maybe 35 film stock. Catching native tribes, come along for my boat ride. Yeah, come along for my boat ride. I'm like the dawn of the Amazon. These bitch snakes come along, they just a pawn in the game. Anaconda, you think you long? Check out my wang. Deepest, longest penis like a snake head. Deepest, longest penis like a snake head. Deepest, longest penis like a snake head. Deepest, longest. Deepest, longest penis like a snake head. Deepest, longest penis like a snake head. Deepest, longest penis like a snake head. Deepest, longest. Damn, feels good to be a gangster, documentarian, prankster. Ain't no veterinarian, vegetarian, naughty by nature, fool. Come on. Chop a snake with my axe head, blow you up in the smokestack, sucker, now you're dead. Yeah, sucker, now you're dead. From the deepest, longest, chop a snake. Yes. Bite your ass.
Bitch.
All right. Deepest, longest penis from Ice Cube.
Okay, so something weird about that. You know, I was talking about how it sounded like he got 80R'd by a completely different person a few times in this movie. It almost
Yeah.
felt like that wasn't him there and it was someone else, but I couldn't quite pinpoint whose voice it was.
Yeah, I think he might have had a cold or something when he recorded that. That's probably also why they didn't release it.
I see. Yeah.
Because I listened to a lot of Ice Cube on the reg.
Okay. You know, I can see why that would be cut. With the Deep Blue Sea song, he said my head is like a shark's fin. I felt like there were a lot of deep metaphors there, but there's really just kind of like a penis pun in this one. But I don't know, actually that kind of fits because Deep Blue Sea is really a deep film with just some incredible themes, and Anaconda doesn't really have that. So I feel like just being kind of more surface and focused on that phallic imagery is perfect. So now I'm actually disappointed. Sorry, Randy Edelman, this song should have been in there. This should have been it.
I don't know. I was kind of let down by the lack of penis puns in the actual movie. Could have used a little bit more of that. So yeah, the rap at the end could have just been a nice touch.
Ah, okay, I see. So like Jon Voight probably in the outtakes, there are a lot of scenes where he's like, "You think that snake is long? It's not long. I'll show you long." But they cut them all out. All the times he said that.
And that's where Ice Cube got the inspiration for the song. None of that made it in the movie. It's just a problem.
Lame.
So, moving on to movie connection time. I'm tasked with connecting my pick, Anaconda, to our listener's pick from last time, Cruel Intentions. This is what I got. Ryan Felipe, if that's how you really say his name, was a snake-like character in Cruel Intentions. Well, he was more like a shark because you remember that pool scene where he's circling Reese Witherspoon?
Mm-hmm.
But this movie has villainous snakes that are actually a little bit more like sharks than snakes, because they can bust through floorboards of docks and boats and all sorts of stuff that snakes can't actually do. But yeah, and apparently Sean Patrick Thomas, who played Ronald in Cruel Intentions, he was also in Barbershop with Ice Cube. So there's your movie connection. Did you have a movie connection, or you just want to get on into the bootlicking of Trivia Battle?
Well, before we do that, I do have a connection with Anaconda. I know another movie I can connect it to, and it's Anaconda's The Hunt for the Blood Orchid, the sequel. Have you seen this? Did you watch it?
I watched like 30 minutes of it on my lunch break today.
Oh, okay. All right. So, you know what? I could have punished myself like I always do, but I'm over that. I'm over self-flagellating. So I didn't watch the third and fourth Anaconda films that were straight to TV, not even straight to DVD. But I did watch the cinematically released Anaconda's The Hunt for the Blood Orchid from 2004, directed by Dwight H. Little. And you know what? It's not a good movie, but it is better than the first Anaconda. It does have an all CGI snake, which is a bummer, but the cast, they actually are fun. They get fun things to do. They get to interact with each other in fun ways. There's a monkey, like the monkey from Friends is in this. There's a chase scene with the snake and the monkey.
Is that the monkey from Friends?
I'm pretty sure it's Marcel from Friends. I'm almost 100% sure that anytime you see a monkey that looks like that, it's the same monkey from Friends and everything.
I was going to say, you're doing bad in your film when the monkey is the most interesting character out of the cast.
I disagree. I think you're doing great when you can introduce such an incredible creature into your movie and get the audience so invested, because whenever the snake was chasing him, I was like, no, the monkey! No, and then the monkey's fate is left in doubt.
I just wanted to see a whole movie of this monkey, like, fighting the snake and running from the snake. That would have been pretty cool. Because it looked like they actually had real monkey, not CGI monkey, when he's, running and climbing and stuff.
Oh, yeah, he was 100% real. And the cast, I mean, it's a bunch of no names, basically. No offense to any of them, except for Morris Chestnut. He was kind of the only one whose name would be more familiar to most of the audiences at the time. But I thought everybody in this movie did a pretty good job. They definitely understood the assignment, because you have like this really like gruff, over the top Johnny Messner as Bill Johnson, the boat captain, who I believe that it gets mistaken that his name is Johnsoon. The movie's set in Borneo and everyone expects him to be Asian and he's not. You get the Johnsoon joke, which I guess is maybe a little offensive. K.D. Strickland, this woman with this really strong Southern accent, she does good. She and Johnny Messner have good chemistry. Look, if you like big snake movies, there are a lot worse ones than Anaconda's The Hunt for the Blood Orchid. I think Anaconda is worse than it. So I actually kind of enjoyed it a little. I give it a 5 out of 10. But I'm not watching those other two. Those other two have David Hasselhoff in them. They look like crap. I'm not watching them.
You're not going to punish yourself anymore.
No way, sucker.
Well, get ready to be punished again because it's time for Trivia Battle.
Hold it! Pop quiz, hotshot.
I'm going to be decent to you if you know your Ice Cube trivia, that is, because all my questions today revolve around Ice Cube and his filmography.
Oh, that's funny. Usually, I can't really predict when you're going to do it, but probably 70% of the time, you're a huge jerk and you pull out this Fred Willard trivia book that you have. And the questions are so unfair, and I get so mad at you.
That's like the only time I win trivia, though.
It is, and even those, I generally know the answer and let you win because I feel bad for you.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I really did think movie was spelled Movey.
Hey, that was a legit question.
All my questions are based on the career of Fred Willard this episode, in honor of that.
Are they?
Yes, they're all Fred Willard-based questions.
That's awesome. Was he an Anaconda? I don't think so. Disqualified.
Can you imagine Fred Willard, Jonathan Hyde, and Jon Voight just taking over this movie together? That would have been amazing. All right.
Oh, man.
I'm going to go first. You ready for this?
All right. Go ahead.
Okay. In what film did Fred Willard make his first appearance? Was it A, Coach, B, Kentucky Fried Movie, C, The Bad News Bears, D, Teenage Mother?
So instead of me being a jerk to you with my Fred Willard questions, you're going to throw this out at me.
I mean, you're so well acclimated to Fred Willard's world. I figured these would be easy. I mean, you've got his book, Jordan. I think it's the only book he ever wrote.
Probably so. I'm just going to guess Teenage Mother.
That is correct, Jordan.
Oh, nice. First question for me. Ice Cube plays Craig in 95's Friday. What is Craig's last name? Was it A, Jackson, B, Johnson, C, Jones, or D, Dixon?
Man, we used to watch this every single Thanksgiving in the 90s. My family.
Yeah.
On TV. The TV
Classic.
edit.
Oh, yeah. I want to see the TV edits for this movie.
So if I didn't say Craig Jones right now, I would feel like I was losing my mind. Gotta be Craig Jones.
It is Craig Jones. You got it.
Woohoo! Number 2. In which Austin Powers film did Fred Willard appear? Was it A, Austin Powers, International Man of Mystery, B, Austin Powers, The Spy Who Shagged Me, C, Austin Powers in Goldmember, D, Austin Powers Shags a Mermaid?
I'm pretty sure there's not a Austin Powers Shags a Mermaid.
How do you know?
I'm well acquainted with the Austin Powers series. I mean, what are you going to do? I'm going to go with Spy Who Shagged Me.
You got that right too, Jordan. Great job.
Nice. All right. Number 2 for me. Ice Cube's debut feature film role was playing Doughboy in 1991's Boys in the Hood. Who directed the film? Was it A, Marlon Riggs, B, Charles Burnett, C, John Singleton, D, Julie Dash, or E, Uncle Ralph?
Man, the Uncle Ralph bacon cheeseburger at Burger King was incredible. They had a tie-in burger. Was it Uncle Ralph? No, King Ralph. Damn it. King Ralph.
Is that your answer?
No, that's not my answer. No, I used to love that movie in high school. I mean, I think I'd still like it now. I just haven't seen it in a while. I think it was John Singleton, but I'm not sure. Let's say John Singleton.
You are correct. You got it.
Sweet. Are you ready for this?
Ready for that.
Fred Willard's final film appearance was in A, 50 Shades of Black, B, Mascots, C, Have a Good Trip, Adventures in Psychedelics, D, Planes, Fire and Rescue, or E, Mace Me.
Was it Mascots?
Wrong. It was Have a Good Trip, Adventures in Psychedelics.
Question number 3 for me. Ice Cube made one other film in 1997 alongside Anaconda. What was the title of that film? Was it A, Dangerous Ground, B, Pound for Pound, C, Jump Ship, or D, Good Cop, Bad Cop?
Is Dangerous Ground that stupid Seagal one? I don't know. That's the only one that sounds familiar. I'm just going to guess that.
It was Dangerous Ground.
Nice. Was that the Seagal movie?
No, I don't. I think you're thinking of something else. But yeah, that's out of those four. That's the only actual real movie. So that might be why.
Who else was it? Who else was in that? Hang on, I gotta look. I need to know. Yeah, definitely not Steven Seagal. Oh yeah, Elizabeth Hurley was in it. I just remember the poster, so I knew that was a real title. Because yeah, Elizabeth Hurley I believe was also in my top 5 with Carrie Werr back whenever I was in high school. I won. Is it? I got 3 out of 3. Is that it?
You got 3 out of 3. You win.
Oh man. For some reason, I thought that you would kill the Fred Willard, so I didn't even prep a movie yet for you to watch. I'm going to have to think of something really fast.
Oh, man.
I will, though. I definitely
you just owned
will.
on the Ice Cube, man. I didn't even get to ask you my favorite question.
Oh, well, go ahead and ask me.
Which was Ice Cube and Ice-T surviving the game. They were icing fools up in this 1992 movie together. Was it A, Mean Guns, B, New Jack City, C, Trespass, D, Ricocheted, or E, my favorite answer, Ice Rink?
Was it Trespass?
Yeah, it was Trespass.
Man,
see,
yeah.
you deserve to win, my friend. I was guessing on some of these Fred Willards, but you just knew your trivia back and forth like you always do. So I'm going down again with another punishment, and now we can give you some time to think.
So first of all, let me tell you what my main pick is for our next episode. And I'm pretty psyched because I have never seen this before, and I thought that it linked up to this one easy for when I had to do the movie connection. And Jordan, guess who it stars, buddy? Take one guess who's in this movie.
Jennifer Lopez?
No, it's the Slatester, man. Christian Slater's in this.
Oh, is it? All right, tell me what it is.
It's 1998's Hard Rain.
Yes. I'm so excited. I love this movie.
Oh, dude, that's great because I have never seen this. I don't know why. For some reason, I just never watched it.
Oh, man. It's got Christian Slater, Morgan Freeman, Minnie Driver, and they're all in hard rain. What else do you need? It's raining all the time. Slates are all wet. That's all I need right there.
Awesome. Well, look, I just decided on your punishment. So we know you're going to enjoy that. That's good. I have a feeling I probably will. I hope I do. I already got the La La Land score, so I can't wait to listen to that. But your punishment movie, I'm sorry to say, this one also stars Christian Slater. It's a 2005 flick. I like making fun of and alluding to it because it's a U-Bowl movie, even though I've never seen it. And let me just say, all the U-Bowl movies I've seen, or this place I used to get tattoos at back when I was in my 20s, for some reason, these dudes always watched DVDs, and a U-Bowl movie always popped on whenever I was getting a tattoo there. But I never had to watch 2005's Alone in the Dark, starring Christian Slater and our friend who's been in so many movies we've watched recently, Tara Reid.
Oh.
Do you want to know what kind of character Tara Reid plays here? I just want you to know, Tara Reid is an archaeologist and museum curator.
Wow. Archaeologist and museum curator. Oh, and it's got Steven Dorff?
Yeah, dude, Steven Dorff's in this.
Oh,
wait, let me ask this. Have you seen a U-Bowl movie?
Let me look at his filmography. I don't think I have, man. I know he's infamous for crap, but I don't think I've actually sat down to watch anything.
U-Bowl gives incompetence like a new meaning. Like it goes beyond incompetent to where it comes back around to where you could easily imagine, like, if you gave a small child a camera and editing tools and taught them just how to use them functionally, this is what you would get. Maybe not even functionally. It makes Paul W.S. Anderson look like Orson Welles. So I cannot wait to hear your opinion of this movie, man.
Does not look good. 2.4 out of 10 on IMDb. But I mean, it's got the Slatester, so at least I can say I'm one more step closer to finishing out his filmography. I don't know. I've got to find a silver lining here.
Yeah, to use the word completely wrong or the phrase wrong, since you lost trivia and didn't win, but this is totally a Pyrrhic victory because you get the Slatester, but you get him in Alone in the Dark. But hey, we're also watching Hard Rain, so that's the caveat right there. Is You're going to watch, hopefully, a movie that's good with Slatester, and then unfortunately, this one, that's going to be so bad, I think it'll almost be good.
It's so bad, it's going to make Hard Rain look like a masterpiece.
It's going to make Hard Rain look like Black Rain.
All right. Well, that is our snake-filled episode. Hope you guys enjoyed it. And I know right here at the end, Nick, we want to give a shout out to our Patreon supporters and a shout out to your mom, who is one of our first supporters. And she is subscribed to the Pappas level, where she gets a meatball sandwich named after her. So I got it teed up there for you. What's up? What are we going to do for her meatball sub?
That's right. So yes, we had 8 of these slots available because this slot, they also get to pick some of the movies that we watch. So we couldn't do too many of those. And also I have to eat these sandwiches that that you and I describe and that I prepare.
We've got to consider your health. You know, it's an important factor of our show.
That's right. We're only doing one of these per episode in the order that the patrons signed up. And my mom did sign up second. And I really thought hard about what sandwich I should name after her. I thought about the Sicilian, since her father's family is from Sicily. I thought about something to do with Christopher Reeve, since there was a movie with he and Jane Seymour involving time traveling that she watched a lot whenever I was a kid. But I finally decided the easiest thing would be to go with something Star Trek themed, because my mom and I watched every single Star Trek show that came on up until Voyager. And then we kind of fell off on that one. Deep Space Nine was kind of the last one where we watched every single episode. But in honor of that, I present to you the Meat Ship Enterprise. Set phasers to meatballs. This sub is shaped like the Starship Enterprise's disc. That's right, it's a round sub. But unlike the Enterprise's saucer section, which features a life support system that provides crew members life-giving oxygen, the Meat Ship Enterprise is an artery-clogging death support system. Besides copious amounts of meatballs and sodium-drenched marinara sauce, this sandwich contains so many layers of heart-stopping cheese, you'll be headed toward death at warp 9. None can escape its tractor beam of saturated fat. An old Cleon proverb says, "Revenge is a dish best served cold." But this is a sandwich best served hot and with a 15-minute IV injection of fluids. Thanks, Mom.
Nice, man. Love it. Well, yes, thank you, Miss Annie, for supporting us here on Filmshake, and thank you to all our other patrons. We appreciate the support. If you want to sign up for our other tiers that are available where you get bonus episodes, you can check out patreon.com/filmshake and go become a patron.
That's right. We got a hot poll on there that's ending at the end of May, where you get to vote on the next movie that we cover once the poll ends. And it's a pretty close to a dead heat. So even if you only sign up for the $1 tier, you get to vote in that. Something to think about there. If you want to make us cover one of these 3 movies, you get to pick which one.
All right, yeah, so you have choices like Hook from 91, Romeo and Juliet from 96, or Idle Hands from 1999. So yeah, go sign up, become a Patreon supporter, and you can vote in this poll. You can get the bonus episodes, and you get all our other fun posts and things that we put up there.
Right on.
Well, thanks for listening. Hope you enjoyed the episode. If you have any comments, we'd love to hear feedback from our listeners. You can email us at filmshakepodcast@gmail.com, or go follow us on Twitter or Facebook at 90s Movies Pod. And we'll catch you next time for more Filmshake.
Take it easy.
What? Hiss.
They have heat sensors. A warm body like Mateo's. In the water. Wasn't hard to find. They strike, wrap around you, hold you tighter than your true love, and you get the privilege of hearing your bones break before the power of the embrace causes your veins to explode.